Hello to everyone, welcome. Welcome to every woman. Welcome to Woman of the Bible. And remember, you are so loved with an everlasting love. This is your pastor, Yati. I hope that all is okay with all of you. And for those who are following the Women of the Bible on my broadcast, I hope that stories, experiences speak to your heart and help you and reflect on that. Today I'm going to talk about acceptance, and it's a long reading now. It's Genesis 30 verses 25 to 43 and Genesis 31 verses 1 to 55. So let's go ahead with it. After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Give me my wives and children, for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I've done for you." But Laban said to him, "If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you." He added, "Name your wages, and I will pay them." Jacob said to him, "You know how I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care. The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household?" "What shall I give you?" he asked. "Don't give me anything," Jacob replied. "But if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every speckled and spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages, and my honesty will testify for me in the future. Whenever you check on the wages, you have paid me. Any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark-colored, will be considered stolen." "Agreed," said Laban. "Let it be as you have said." That same day he removed all the male goats that were streaked or spotted, and all the speckled or spotted female goats, all that has white on them, and all the dark-colored lambs, and he placed them in the care of his sons. Then he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob continued to tend the rest of Laban's flocks. Jacob, however, took fresh cut branches from popular almond and plane trees and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. Then he placed the peeled branches in all the watering troughs, so that they would be directly in front of the flocks when they came to drink. Then the flocks were in heat and came to drink. They made it in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked or speckled or spotted. Jacob set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but made the rest face the streaked and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Thus he made separated flocks for himself and did not put them with Laban's animals. Whenever the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in the troughs in front of the animals, so they would mate near the branches. But if the animals were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban and the strong ones to Jacob. In this way the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to own large flocks and female and male servants and camels and donkeys. Chapter 31. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, "Jacob has taken everything our father owned, and has gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father." And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Go back to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you." So Jacob sent word to Rachel and Leah to come out to the fields where his flocks were. He said to them, "I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I've worked for your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God has not allowed him to harm me. If he said, 'The speckled ones will be your wages,' then all the flocks give birth to speckled young. And if he said, 'The streaked ones will be your wages,' then all the flocks bore streaked youngs. So God has taken away your father's livestock and has given them to me. In breeding season, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goats mating with the flock were streaked, speckled, or spotted. The angel of God said to me in the dream, 'Jacob.' I answered, 'Here I am.' And he said, 'Look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are streaked, speckled, or spotted. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and where you made a vow to me. Now, leave this land at once and go back to your native land.' Then Rachel and Leah replied, 'Do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate? Does he not regard us as foreigners? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. Surely all the wealth that God took away from our fathers belonged to us and our children. So do whatever God has told you.' Then Jacob put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. When Laban had gone in to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household gods. Moreover, Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him he was running away. So he fled with all he had, crossed the Euphrates River, and headed for the hill country of Gilead. On the 3rd day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Taking his relatives with him, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. Then God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream at night and said to him, 'Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.' Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives camped there too. Then Laban said to Jacob, 'What have you done? You've deceived me, and you've carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me, so I could send you away with joy and singing to the music of timbrels and harps. You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my granddaughters goodbye. You have done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you, but last night the God of your father said to me, "Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad." Now, you have gone off before you longed to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods? Jacob answered Laban, "I was afraid, because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anyone who has your gods, that person shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, see for yourself whether this is anything of yours here with me, and if so, take it." Now Jacob did now what Rachel had stolen. Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the gods. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and in the tent of the two female servants, but he found nothing. After he came out of Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them inside her camel saddle and was sitting on them. Laban searched through everything in the tent, but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, "Don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I'm having my period." So he searched but could not find the household gods. Jacob was angry and took Laban to ask, "What is my crime?" He asked Laban, "How have I wronged you that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. I have been with you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten rams from your flocks. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loose myself, and you demanded payment for me for whatever was stolen by day or night. This was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime and the cold at night, and sleep fled from my eyes. It was like this for the 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wakes 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But God has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you." Laban answered Jacob, "The women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us." So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said to his relatives, "Gather some stones." So they took stones and piled them in a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jagar Sahudatu Da, and Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, "This heap is a witness between you and me today." That is why it was called Galeed. It was also called Mizpah, because he said, "May the Lord keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters or if you take any wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me." Laban also said to Jacob, "Here is this heap, and here is this piler I have set up between you and me. This heap is a witness, and the piler is a witness, that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this heap and piler to my side to harm me. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us." So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father Isaac. He offered a sacrifice there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. There we are, the whole story in what we will further see what will happen to Rachel. She took and she lied. So, in Genesis 31, Jacob calls Leah and Rachel to call to them about leaving their fathers because God has instructed Jacob to move away from Laban's land. That is the first time we see Leah and Rachel express anger over their fathers. Shenanigans. It is also the first time we see Jacob treat Leah as equal to Rachel. And the first time the sisters are on the same side and in agreement with each other. Rachel steals religious idols from her father before they leave. But Leah is innocent of any wrongdoing. Leah has settled into her role as mother, with acceptance from Jacob and self-worth from God. This satisfaction culminates Leah's personal journey from a quiet woman on the sidelines to a woman with peace in her heart and a matriarch full of gratitude toward God. So, reflect on this, that how is Leah different in her speech about her father in this passage compared with when we first meet her? When have personal circumstances changed you? And another reflection, why do you think the scriptures show Rachel stealing idols and hiding them versus Leah, who was innocent of it all? What does it tell us about Leah? What do your behaviors say about you? So let us take day 7 as reflect and let us take action. The key insight in this here that Leah was used by her father to deceive Jacob, similar to how Jacob was used by his mother Rebekah. When he deceived his father Isaac into giving him the blessing, it is a great example of the biblical principle of sowing and reaping. Proverbs 22 verse 8 and Galatians 6 verses 6 to 10. Then another key insight. Leah realized things need to change in her life because Jacob is not showing her love after she has his children. Instead, she praised God and focused on what she is thankful for. Leah teaches us that doing things to win praise or love from people is fruitless, but focusing on God's love can calm our hearts. And then our actions. Leah demonstrates if only thinking about herself. Such thought today include, if only I looked prettier or lost weight or had more money. If you struggle with if only thinking, try to focus on what you are thankful for. Write a gratitude list in your journal as a thank you letter to God. Many of us can identify with Leah's feelings or being overlooked and underappreciated. What can you appreciate in yourself that others miss? Consider people in your life who may be underappreciated and show them your gratitude with words or actions. Leah is transformed. Has your life been transformed in some way? If it has, describe these changes in your journal. If not, how would you like it to change? Make a list of items you'll need for this change. Start with a change in your thinking, like Leah did. And so we close up this third week in day 6 and day 7, as you can do in your own time frame to reflect and to work with. The next week on Monday, we will start week 4, where we will bring the story of Rahab, an unconventional hero. But that is for the next week. So, there's a lot going on in the lives, as we heard in Scripture. And in our lives, it can be stormy too. May God be with you and protect you. May He keep you from all harm. And may His light shine upon you and keep you safe. Enjoy your coming days, close to the weekend, and you'll hear from me on Monday. May God bless. This is your Pastor Yeti. Bye-bye.